Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Gameweek Navigators. Today, we are back with a team preview for Manchester United, and I have with me my co-host Aditya, who is himself a United fan. So he will take us through in detail some of the major questions that we have with respect to Manchester United. On to you, Aditya.
Yeah, but that was a very straight away start. Okay, anyways, so here's going to be the couple of talking points that we're going to cover in this stream. We're going to look at few stats from last season, more or less not going to be that relevant. We're going to look at the transfer window, how United have done so far. Look at couple of preseason games. I mean, we'll analyze particularly just one game that's against Lens that we played, and we'll look at the first 8 game weeks, the fixtures, what to expect from Rasmus Højlund, and we'll compare few of the United assets. We'll use the per 90 metrics because there are a couple of surprising results there. So we'll see what that tells us. And last but not the least, we'll end with my brief summary. We look at few of the picks that I have written down. It might be the same redundant, but let's see. And the bracket lineup for game week 1. So
So
that's what
before
we're
we
going to
get
cover.
into the key stats, Aditya, how was last season for you, as a United fan?
Um, okay. As a United fan, in terms of that, we were good. I mean, no complaints compared to what we were a season before the NAG came in. We were in a complete mess. So we finished uh, third, and we won at least one domestic cup. That shows a little bit of progress. FA Cup we lost in the final. That's fine, no problems. But overall, that's good improvement over what we were a few seasons back. I mean, we were decent here, up and down, but not consistent, and we were not catching up with the modern world in terms of performances and the way we were playing. So I think that has definitely changed over the past year and even over the past few months now. What we've seen in the preseason games so far, yeah, looks promising. I think that's the best word for now that I would use.
Perfect.
Okay, then. So let's move on to a few of the numbers from last season which I've picked up. Obviously, we kept 17 clean sheets. Purely, that was because the stability that Varane and Martinez got in. Obviously, De Gea was there. De Gea is no longer with the club, but 17 clean sheets was good compared to the amount of goals that we let in. So we let in 43 goals, but still managed to keep more clean sheets. It's fine, not bad. Next, we'll go on to obviously we created 479 chances, second best in the league. Most of them is going to be from Bruno Fernandes, no doubt. And we had about 593 attempts on goal. We ranked fourth best in that, but in terms of on target one, that out of which 209 were on target, so that was ranked third best. We average a chance every 6.1 minutes, ranked joint second best. That's basically, I think City also have around 6.1 minutes, and I think only Brighton are on top with 6 minutes, a chance every 6 minutes. So, not bad. One thing that was a bit of let off was the amount of goals we scored. Uh, 58, not bad, but if you see that XG word, which I got in there, 68.74, shy of 10 goals less. I mean, you'll never kind of match your XG, so if you had scored around maybe 65 or something, it would have been okay, but 10, it's around delta of minus 10 close to, so bit of disappointing. That should be rectified this season. And we hit the post 13 times. I think Bruno has a lot of shots on that which hit the post.
The defense, I think United defense was on form, on song last season, right? And we have a massive change which has happened in the summer window, right? We have the keeper going out, new keeper coming in. What are your expectations from defense this season?
Yeah, with that segue, we'll just move on to when the transfer window. It will make sense for me. Uh, so yeah, obviously we got in Onana. We got in Mason Mount from Chelsea, which was a bit of surprise. Like how Chelsea managed to let him go. That's the only surprise. Other than that, we managed to get a good player. Onana is someone that has played under Tenag. He's always kept an eye on Onana. Since last year, we were having few rumors here and there about possible replacements if the Gea was set to leave and all. And Obviously, I think it's people in the community have spoken a lot about Onana. I'm not going to grind the same thing again here. Obviously, he's someone who's good with his footwork, can distribute well, good passes. Obviously, a goalkeeper can make saves, and I mean, to be fair, De Gea was not that great in terms of his passing abilities. So we've got in on someone who's more confident and capable of doing that, and can also withstand press from your opponents. So in terms of what we were lacking in, obviously modern day football you play out from the back, that is more emphasized, and we were lacking someone to do that. And with Onana's arrival, I think that has definitely improved us in that particular section. Yeah, obviously
And
Rasmus Højlund is the last name, which
yeah,
we'll talk later. Yeah.
he comes in with a 7 million price. It's been announced now.
Yes, that's a fair price. I was guessing around 7.5. They might put him alongside the Nkunku Darwin bracket, but
Yeah,
7 is good considering how he has performed over the last two seasons. So 7 is a fair shot.
correct, correct. When do we expect to see him?
I'm guessing maybe a Spurs game, maybe from the bench, and from
Okay.
then on, it's going to purely depend upon how fit he is. So we need to still wait on that, but not for game week 1.
The injury rumors, are they strong? We heard he came in injured.
He's not fit enough. He's not match fit enough, I think is what I'm going to put it out.
Okay. Okay.
Officially, we have not got anything saying he's injured. The words that are coming out are like he's not fit enough. He's not match fit enough. So we'll just stick to that for now.
Makes sense.
Okay, another thing that is pre-season. Something that we played. We lost a couple of games midway. But, I mean, I'm just going to talk on the important games here. Leeds and Leon were sorry. The second slide it mentions draw. There's some error, so it should be we won 1-0. So I mean, so the second point here. Uh, those first two games, the first team did not play. Arsenal we won 2-0. That's from where we saw the bulk of first teamers play. Madrid we lost. Dortmund we lost. Lens we won 3-1. So I think those particular four games is where United players might have learned their lessons from the mistakes they made and what they need to improve on. So, I mean, that being said, we played against good oppositions in this preseason tour. So that is important to emphasize on. Playing against good teams is what will improve you, and that's what they've done from the get go. So which is great. That's one thing I want to get out. And yeah, key performance. Obviously, not a lot of goals here and there. I mean, Anthony scored 2 goals, assist. Sancho with a goal. Rashford a goal and assist. Garnacho with an assist. Obviously, Van de Beek, he played well in one of the games, but I think he might possibly more to Sociedad. We're not sure whether it's a loan or permanent. So obviously, I think the rest of the names are pretty much straightforward. I'm not going to dwell a lot on this. And if you want to add some anything there, any questions or something?
Uh, just want to check from the back line who was playing at the right back. I think there's a lot of questions around whether Dalot comes in, whether Van Bissaka is an option, right? What was your observation of the preseason?
Tenag will favor Dalo purely because of his capabilities, but obviously the preseason game against Lens he made a mistake that
Correct.
basically allowed them to score. But for now it's going to be Dalo, but that's a tough call. I mean, if he makes a few mistakes here and there, I'm pretty sure Van Bissaka is going to come in time.
And I see Bruno has only one goal. I'm someone who's, I think, part of a massive fan base who's looking to develop on Rashford and Bruno. How does Bruno sound?
He's good. I think if you remember when we had the first stream, I was emphasizing more on Bruno than Rashford, and now a little bit there is a tweak. I think I'll emphasize both are good options, and what happens is that Bruno is someone who will create chances. Even though so-called having a average season last year, he managed to create so much. So we did not have someone who was able to put the ball in the back of the net. So with that partly solved, like I don't expect Hoyland to come in and score 20, 30 goals and all those things. It will just improve our attack a bit. So, I mean, Fernandez is a good asset. There's no complaints. 8.5, he'll take set pieces, he'll take the penalties, he'll create so many chances, he'll be involved from set plays, all the long shots and all everything. So, he's the club captain. So, I mean, 8.5, no brainer for that price. I don't have any complaints.
Perfect. All I wanted to hear.
We'll discuss more, don't worry. We're just getting started. Okay, with that being said, next let's move on to fixtures quickly. I mean, we're covering things fast because we don't want to dwell a lot of things because by now United have completely finished their preseason tour. So those who have watched a couple of games or have read, I think, will be up to speed. So in terms of the fixtures, yeah, it's not that great and not that bad. It's slightly in the middle, is what I'll say. Obviously, Spurs, Arsenal, and Brighton and Brentford, maybe four good tough games there. We can't take them for granted. I think Wolves. See, the starting game of the season is something that nobody takes for granted. We have seen a lot of surprising results here and there. So every game, I think we will play game by game. But fixtures are good. I think attack wise, yes. Defense wise, uh, a bit here and there. I think even you spoke about how about Arsenal defense, Arsenal defenders. Like you are also not that optimistic. I am also pretty much in the same boat with United. Not that optimistic, but we'll see based on the bandwagon for Onana. Uh, I think it's a set and forget option. So again, not a lot to complain. But if you want to save the point 0.5 off from Onana and you feel a bit not convinced with United's uh, games and see them not keep a lot of clean sheets, then I think you can definitely go for a 4.5 million goalkeeper. If you trust Onana and trust United defense, then pay the extra 0.5 and go for Onana. That's in terms of defense. Attack wise, no complaints. I mean, if you can go double, it's good to attack the fixtures at the start.
Right. And a lot of noise around Anthony coming up as an additional FPL asset. I'm a skeptic, Anthony is skeptic, but do you feel this is the season he turns it around a bit?
He has to. The same goes for Sancho. Both of them have to turn it around, and I think we don't want to put a lot of pressure on such players. And over the end, or maybe closer to the end of last season, there was a slight improvement in his numbers. So that could emphasize the fact that Ten Hag has worked a lot with him over the course of last season to get him up to speed of with the league. So I think this season should be a good one for him if he keeps up his performances. The only thing is that he's a bit of hot and cold, so he's not that consistent. So if he catches consistency, then I think he should be a good player for that price bracket. I think we're good with the fixtures, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Not a lot.
Just want to discuss a couple of things, right? I think United are one of the best counter-attacking teams in the league, right? And early, preseason fixtures for Tottenham suggest that Tottenham now has a change in style, right? They'll be playing a position-based system, a change from a heavy counter-attacking system under Conte last season. And similarly, you have Brighton, Arsenal. These are all heavy position-based sides, something which actually favors United. Do you feel, people are overthinking United attack when it comes to these fixtures?
One word that Ten Hag emphasized or emphasizes always when he speaks, he says the word transition. Transition speed is something he values a lot, and how quick you are once you get the ball is important for him. And Spurs, I don't know whether they're going to play a highline against us because we know Ange is not someone who is going to go back foot. So I think that's going to be an interesting game to see how he actually approaches United because uh, it is they obviously they are playing at home. We will be going away, so that also makes a little bit of atmospheric difference. But
Right.
I'm not going to rule out us going all out. I mean, we will attack. We will be in the front foot. I think that's how we have transitioned from last year to this year. Is that learn to keep the ball, be fast in your attack, and play a high line. And obviously with Onana is going to play an important role in that. Obviously, if your opponents start pressing a bit high, you will obviously the goalkeeper will have the luxury to look at open spaces here and there and just lob one ball. So that is very important, and that's why I think not. overlooked, underlooked here and there. These are all good fixtures for both the teams because both the teams are not going to sit back all these games.
It's a high scoring game. I just want to check, right? For people who don't have Salah, will you be comfortable captaining someone like Rashford or Bruno in Game Week 2?
That is purely based on how game week 1 goes.
Okay, okay. Fair. I
It's
mean,
it's it's
Wolves
all
at home.
circumstantial.
Wolves at home, I expect a massacre. Anything less, you have to start questioning your double up, right? But we have first question here from Yes. Yes asks about Yo-Yo Anthony, any good then? And also Garnacho. Yeah, Garnacho is a huge name that we have been hearing since the last season friendly. Do you think he starts the initial few game weeks at least?
If I start speaking everything now, I think we'll have to end the stream.
Okay, okay. We are coming to it.
we are
Purpose. We
coming
are
to it.
coming
We
to
are
it.
coming to the next few slides. Okay, with that being said, I think let's move on to this important game. That's the game against Lens.
Okay.
And as I think when you spoke how Arsenal against Barcelona, I think this is pretty much the comparison game that I would take for United. This is more or less the first 11 that is going to play. More or less, at least 90% I'm sure. Except I'm but Garnacho or Sancho is the bit of coin toss. Talo and Van Bissaka a bit of coin toss here and there. But this is more or less the front 11 that's going to play. Sorry, the first 11. And I mean, the average positions there. Obviously, is emphasizing a bit how, little bit how United are playing, and with Casemiro playing as the lone CDM, and with your two holding midfielders in front, they're going to be a bit more like diagonalish, I think. So Mount and Fernandez are just going to rotate here and there, I feel. It's just purely going to be based on who's in that particular position in the pitch and who's going to advance. Bruno is better than Mount, obviously, in terms of his abilities. Mount is someone who will grow and who will get better. So, it don't not a direct comparison here, but obviously Fernandez is a better player there. And the front three, um, United again in the second half they woke up. If you watch the game, the first half was good, but no end product. Second half there was a difference, and we managed to score goals. That is important. And last year, that's where we slogged off second half, dose mode. So that's a good improvement, and really happy with this performance in this game. Showed how confident we were with the ball, and aside from that one miss from the low miss pass, I think we should have kept a clean sheet. So positives, lot of positives, but you should not be overconfident, get ahead of ourselves in terms of United fans. It's promising, but this is how we are going to play this season, more or less. What is up on the screen? The average positions, and 90% this is the lineup.
Yeah. One thing I observed was Garnacho was playing a bit closer to Rashford in terms of his positioning, right? While Anthony stayed wide, he kept the width, right? It was interesting because I thought that A makes Rashford always, that end product, right? Garnacho can always slip that ball in for his run, or else he can, as he does best, he can run past people and try his own shot, right? A bit of unpredictability with those two players.
Yes, I mean, I'll ask you, as you're an Arsenal fan, I see a lot of similarities between Garnacho and Martinelli. The way they play, the way they run with the ball, the way they dribble, they have that sense of footballing IQ when they make their decisions. So it is purely the goal that Rashford scored is because Garnacho was smart enough to pass it back to him. He knew, like, I can't do anything. That's the best chance I can see. It's purely based on what he is able to do at that particular point. And we saw a couple of times in the box where Garnacho was, trying to beat the fullback and go in. So we will be seeing a lot from him this season. So for the initial few weeks, he might be a promising option. I'm also not really sure for Garnacho. I'm just
Yeah,
going to let it out now.
and I completely agree with respect to the comparison of Garnacho and Martinelli. I think they're fairly similar skill set. They're very strong on one-on-ones, right? They can beat you in a, whiplash, right? So just close your eyes and suddenly they're out of sight. Very, very strong with the one-on-ones. And I think what is best is they know the decision making is so good, right? They know when to go for the goal themselves and when to just pass. That is extremely important for a winger.
That is that is the important skill set that can't be taught. You cannot teach
Yeah.
it to players. That's how they acquire it and how smart they are. That's a gift that they have. Okay, I
Perfect. We
think
have questions pouring in, but I think we'll go on to the next slide.
yes. Let's go on to the next slide. I'm just going to see that is what express from Rasmus Højlund. Trying to pronounce his name properly, Rasmus Højlund. Okay, so what do we know so far? So a couple of places from where I referred this from is that I'm just going to put out maybe in the description later. So three places where I referred is that one is Opta Analyst, second is there is a YouTube channel called I think Pythagoras in Boats, and the third one is I think Coach's Voice. So I just basically saw a few things and I read through a couple of their pieces here. So I'll drop them in the description. Obviously, you need to drop the credit. And yeah, so what I've understood so far from him is that he's fast. I mean, people will get a natural comparison between Haaland and Højlund. It's a fair comparison to make, but Haaland is a fair better player than Højlund. There is not equal to like he's someone who is a prolific goal scorer, a poacher. Højlund is someone who is going to learn to reach that particular stage. Now he presses well. He's good in hold up, link up. He's fast. He dribbles well, and he's very skillful with all his trickery here and there. That's one few places where we've noticed where I've gone through is that sometimes he does it overdoes it and loses the ball. So I think those things he will probably learn to get better. Overall, he one thing that United were missing is that we do not have a player who was taking more shots from inside the box. So if we see a comparison between Haaland and Kane last season, Haaland took more shots from inside the box, and Kane didn't. Obviously, Kane is a very different type of player who will drop in behind and who will build the attack for his team. But Højlund is someone who will do that, who will be in the box, fox in the box, more like Vardy. Like he'll make all those sliding attempts, last moment to put the ball in. Just noticing, running through the channels through the middle. So very very, can say high potential player who has high potential. A lot of United journalists have coined him as he's a rough diamond, someone who has to be carved and who has to be caught to that particular potential. Fairly, completely, I agree with that. And exciting prospect, and he's a United fan. That is, you cannot motivate players more than that. He knows what he needs to do, so that's just more than enough for us. Once he's fit, once he's match fit, he'll be slowly eased back, and once we see that he is ready, I think probably the second or third striker slot will open up 3-4-3s, 3-5-2s in future. That's the only thing.
So currently we have Rashford playing that center forward role, right, with Garnacho taking the winger role. I think what you're trying to tell us is once Holland becomes fit and ready, slowly we'll start seeing him take the center forward role and Rashford going back to his more favored left
Yeah,
wing. So Garnacho comes with a lot of potential FPL wise, but he also comes with expiry date that we have to keep an eye on, right?
yeah. Garnacho again. If he's good on the other side, he may go there. If Anthony is a stinker, Sancho could play there. I don't know. Mount could play right. If we sign Amrabat and all, he might play in the midfield. Mount could go right. Bruno could go right. There's a lot of little bit of tinkering will start happening here and there. But I think Rashford will benefit a lot from Højlund, because if Højlund drops in like to link up, hold up, Rashford is the one. He's going to make those cross runs, and he's
Correct.
going to get benefited a lot.
Correct.
Okay, let me see what's the next slide. And now is where we start discussing a bit of the players from United. That's obviously I've compared their stats with the per 90 metrics, and I'm going to get a few questions from the chat at this point. Uh, One of them is Bruno or Rashford for most points. Next is there a clear distinction between Bruno and Mount roles? Uh, we've got a reply to that also saying that Rashford will Bruno out this time, not of switching between Bruno and Mount. Okay, so So if you see this, obviously Bruno has played more minutes in this particular comparison. Rashford had more goal attempts. Anthony also for 90, very surprising. Shots in box for Garnacho. Note it meant Garnacho only played 599 minutes. So he's more or less going to lead in most of the places because how explosive he was in particular spells. But this is going to clearly give us a picture. If you want a nailed United attacker, nailed attacker is Rashford. Nailed chance creator, set piece taker who will play every minute is Bruno. So they are two different players. Bruno is not going to play like Salah. He's not going to give you something how Salah was over the past few seasons. He's going to be more of someone who's going to chip in assists uh, here and there, pens, set pieces, and an odd goal here and there if he gets it. But if you're the talisman, so called, in FPL point of view, that's Rashford. Now the question is Anthony. Now Anthony is someone, don't go and pick him right away now. The preseason game he played well. So if he continues to play the same way for a few weeks, then he might be a cheaper second United attacker since he's priced 7. So that's by taking for Anthony. Very promising, but again, see, we it shouldn't be a case wherein you get in a player who's 7 and he's not that consistent. He gets you 2 to 3 3 4 4 points, 2 2 points, and you will have players 6.5 bracket who will start outperforming me. So we have a lot of players who are better, obviously Mitoma, Mbuemo, and the list of 6.5 and 7 mids. You might have Foden and Grealish is all in the 7.5, Havertz at 7.5, more names here and there. So in terms of Anthony, it's purely wait and watch. Shaw and Dalot, I'm not at Dalot is because Dalot is someone who will attack more than Shaw in terms of goals, not chances. But in terms of chance creation and all, it's purely Shaw is going to be involved. Set pieces, I don't. I think it's going to be. Now, in terms of set pieces, that's your free kicks and corners and all. It's going to be split between Mount, Fernandes, Shaw, Ericsson, and all when he comes on. Rashford for a few of the free kicks here and there. So that's a complete spin there with that. And the reason why Shaw was a very good asset last year was that he was good in his passing, bonus points monster. That is the key thing with him. And 5.5, little bit expensive, I would say. I mean, Dalo at 5 is okay, but Dalo is not nailed. That's the problem. So to save the point 5, everybody will go for Onana. So I think that is what is pretty much happening with
And
United.
what we hear is also Onana's passing abilities ensures that BPS monopoly that Shaw had last season with the clean sheets, that kind of goes away because Shaw again is, while a prolific passer, did not have a lot of assist on top of it. So it was merely his passing which was giving him the bonuses. And ideally, Onana is expected to take away that.
That will happen. Some point in few games here and there. Uh,
Yeah.
Obviously, I saw one question of Bruno or Rashford for most points. It's so difficult, right, to guess this. I don't know. I think Rashford will edge it over Bruno, just edge it. Don't think that's going to be over a long run. If you see a long run, Bruno's going to be someone who's going to play every game, every minute. So someone is going to create more chances. Rashford is going to take those. So doubling up is that other question which we were having at start. Good to double up. 9 and 8.5. I think it's not bad. I mean, people will double up Saka and Martinelli. Why
Yeah.
not go for Bruno and Rashford also? I think that's going to get 4 midfielder slots out now.
Okay. One of the things that I observed in the Lens friendly match was Rashford was not having a good game, and Bruno was playing really, really well. But at the end of the day, purely from a FPL point of view, Rashford was the one who scored the goal, out of nowhere, and Bruno was the one with pre-assist rather than assist, right? So I think that is something that you have to always keep in mind that this is not about who is the better player. It's about who ends giving you the more points, right? Rashford just feels like a ultimate FPL player, right?
FPL is basically that you need the player who gets the end product. That's it.
Correct, correct, correct.
Unfortunately, players the assist to assist and all, they're not that valued. So we can't help with
And
that.
do you feel I see yes comment about a lot of switching between Bruno and Mount. I feel what he means is someone goes up, someone stays back. Is that happening?
That will naturally happen. It will happen. As I said, right, whoever's going to be advanced at that particular time is going to go through. The
Uh,
game, Mount had one chance, right? You must have noticed him at start. He ran through,
yeah,
ball went behind, miss kick, whatever people want to call it. He was the one in that position. He was able to make the run. He made it. So it's
right.
purely going to be based on that.
And one thing I observed about Anthony is he has the maximum number of goal attempts, right? But unfortunately, it seems he takes most number of his goal attempts outside the box, right? So that kills down his ability to convert it into a goal or even assist, right? Something that can happen if he goes a bit closer before he starts going for such attempts.
Hmm. And Anthony is someone I think who is learning to create now, create chances. And we saw in the last game, the last preseason game, he was able to create chances. He obviously scored, and Tenak was very happy. He said he was very happy with his performance in that game, and overall so far. So he likes Anthony a lot. He adores him, even from his time at Ajax and now. Uh,
Yeah.
he has to stay fit. So last time he got injured a couple of times. So if he stays fit, the thing once he shows the promising signs, then your slot for 7 million, he can be a potential option. And Sancho, I want to talk quickly about Sancho. Uh, Sancho had a good game against Bilbao yesterday. He didn't play against Lens. Uh, Tenak tried him as a centre forward, sort of false nine-ish, alongside the wingers, and he's good. He's able to drop in behind and create chances. But he had a couple of chances yesterday he didn't take. Little bit of letdown. So again, the decision is completely with Tenak whether he wants to play Sancho, Rashford, and Anthony, or whether he wants to play Garnacho, Rashford, and Anthony. So very harsh on Sancho if he doesn't start. Again, it will be harsh on Garnacho as well. So we just have 11 players to play. Sancho is someone who will create. Again, he's a creator. So again, we need to keep that in mind.
And what about the guy who has like XGI in green?
So Uh, this might be his potential sort of his breakthrough season if he plays well, if he's consistent, and when he performs whenever he's given the opportunity, and might get the opportunity for the starting few weeks is what I feel. Until and unless Højlund is back, or maybe Tenak prefers to start Sancho and bench him. So I think if we get few updates from the press or from Tenak himself that he's more sort of inclined to start Garnacho, to be honest, I'm very tempted to get him if we get few news as a fifth midfielder. So at least for the first 3-4 weeks. I mean,
Yeah.
if Hoyland is not back.
Yeah, I think people are looking at him as a short-term option. People realize the volatility which comes with it. At the same time, United first three fixtures are extremely, extremely good, right? Including Spurs away, purely from attacking point of view. I think it's going to be good. And that's the reason anyone who cannot afford to have a Rashford and Bruno double up, this is a good way to punt and see, that fifth midfielder like you spoke about. Maybe he gives you points.
Yes, at least for the first few games, he will. If he plays, he will give you points. He will definitely. I'm as I said, even I'm looking at it if he starts. If we get few things from Ten Hag or few quotes or some news here and there. That's the thing. Sancho and him is like pure. Like there are two coin toss for Ten Hag to make. One is Sancho and Garnacho, Dallo and Van Bissaka. More or less, I'm convinced Dallo is going to play over Van Bissaka, but I'm not sure about this. My hunch is that it's going to be Garnacho and not Sancho, but it's Ten Hag. You can't predict him.
Cool.
I'm just seeing if there are any other more questions. Uh, the data here is, yeah, it's per 90, so there will be a lot of surprising results is what we're seeing. And as I just I'm going to just reiterate it again. Attacker wise, it's Rashford. Chance creator is Bruno. Set piece is Bruno. Rashford is going to basically, if you cook food and give, Rashford is going to eat it. So that's what is going to happen. So he's going to take those points. Bruno is also going to get benefited, obviously, with the chance creation and all. Shaw, I am a little bit 5.5, right? And Onana, that's the debate going on. Garnacho, good shout if he starts. Anthony, someone to watch. Sancho, again, if he plays, someone to watch out.
And where is Mr. Gloves, Martial? Is he back from injury?
I have
Expected to
no
start?
idea. I have no idea. No, none. We've not got any update from the press. I mean, as far as what I've heard few weeks back is that he's been doing training. He's been given a different training plan, different diet, and all those things. Uh, I have. We have not got a concrete update since that. Uh, and I'm going to take this one question from Nehal. That's, do you expect more rotation between Dalo and Van Bissaka? Uh, Game wise, there will be, based on the game. If we have a, per se, as an example, if you have Martinelli playing, then I might expect Van Bissaka to start and not Dalo, purely because you need someone to defend Martinelli and prevent him from the take-ons and one-on-one potential situations that he might get in the box. Purely game by game, it is going to change. More or less, it's going to be Dalo, but Van Bissaka is just hiding. One mistake or something here and there, tactical change, Dalo might not play. So that's my take so far. Don't see any more questions coming in. So I'm going to move on to the last slide and we'll just sit on it and we'll talk more. And the last one is basically my summary and my lineup, what I'm guessing. And if you see, this lineup is copy pasted from what the preseason game was. I expect pretty much the same team to play. And obviously, I mentioned Sancho could start as a centre forward and Rashford could move to the wing instead of Garnacho playing as the left winger. Once Højlund is match fit, he'll slot in once he's fit enough, and Rashford should move back to the left wing. Dalo will face tough competition from Van Bissaka. I've been saying it for the last few minutes, I'm going to say it again. And another thing is that United may not keep clean sheets. I'm going to just put it out straight as you did it for Arsenal. Don't expect a lot because we're going to play a bit high. Teams are going to play attacking football now. They don't care if they let in one goal here and there, but as long as they play good football, score goals, and win games, that is more important. So there might be a chance where we let in a cheap goal or let in a goal. So
I,
again,
I just want to add something that you said last season you observed a lot. United used to concede a lot over the last 15 odd minutes, right? 75 to 90, 60 to 90, right? And this season we are going to have some good number of extra minutes as we have observed now in the Community Shield final, right? So if you are unable to keep your concentration in those last 10-15 minutes, you can have some clean sheet wipeouts, and especially if you're a player like Onana, right? He's the goalkeeper, he'll not be subbed out. That is one trick, right? For example, Saw might be subbed out and you might have Malasia coming in over the last 5-10 minutes just to defend a bit deeper, but with Onana he's always going to sit there. That's a risk you take.
I mean, regardless of the extra time debate that is going on at a time, we've had a lot of heartbreaks. 96th minute last kick corner when we lose clean sheet points. So that's the part of this game. Not a lot to complain there. But yeah, clean sheets again. It's just a disclaimer. Fixtures wise, defensively, United fixtures are not that great because all the Premier League teams so far are capable of scoring. One odd goal here and there might go in. So that's just a disclaimer. But it's a good shout to take. I mean, people are getting an Arsenal defenders, United defenders, City, Chelsea, purely based on the players, the performances that they can display, and the fixtures they have. So again, it's just a disclaimer is what I said. Don't be disappointed if they don't keep a lot, but if they keep, you might get a lot of points. So again, a lot of can go either way.
And some
And
threads on Shaw and possible combination with Holland once he comes in. Do you see cross to Holland scoring a goal, something like that?
he's very poor in headers, very very bad. Okay, so don't
Okay.
expect him to play like Haaland and all, the route one stuff, poof, and he flicks it, or Lukaku and all S players. He's good with his feet, hold up play and all. Not that great. Something that he has to learn and develop.
Okay.
So that I don't see the left side itself. You see, right, is going to be excellent once Rashford moves. Right, you see the left side. Shaw, Mount, Rashford, Bruno might also go in here and there. Naturally, if you see that launch game that we saw the average position, right, we might see like I mean, generally most of the teams are playing that inverted stuff, and I'm not going to dwell on it a lot. So obviously,
Yeah.
Shaw will like overlap. He will have his chances again, but again, the price, the fixtures, everything is out into picture for us, and that all matters when we are going to take that call. And yeah, to summarize the best picks in order, okay, these are my preference. Rashford is one, Bruno close second, Shaw is, I'm going to just put out straight away. It's just purely based on what I feel from his offensive point of view. If you can't afford Shaw, obviously 5.5 is slightly steep. You can go for, since there's an alternate option available in terms of Onana for all those reasons. If not, then you have Dalo as the alternative for Shaw, but not guaranteed of minutes. I mean, he might lose his place also. We don't know. That's the only thing. And the other differential picks, as we discussed, Anthony is one because more or less he is going to be playing. Garnacho, if Tenak prefers him over Sancho, he's a good option until Højlund is back. And if Garnacho doesn't play, then Sancho becomes the differential option. So it's a bit of a uh, what I would say, tricky like roulette. Yeah, I think we're done. If you have any more questions for me, I think more or less we've done everything.
No. Nehal says, don't remind me that Brighton game. I had double United defense. I think a lot of us had that.
Some games are like uh,
Yeah.
some games are good also because you remember Bruno scored a penalty against Brighton and
Yeah. Yeah.
all those
Ne-
all those things.
Correct.
Double defense is a pain when you lose clean sheets. It's a pain.
Especially with this much extra time, I feel I don't have the guts to take double defense anymore.
I mean, Man City faced it yesterday in the Community
Yeah.
Shield. It's
Yeah.
just because it was a head injury. Obviously, you have to stop the play of 8 minutes extra, and then you get another four, and the potentially the last kick
Correct. Correct.
resulted in a goal. It's a bit harsh, but
I
that's what
can't
they have
complain.
decided
Bit
to.
harsh, but I don't
You
complain.
won't complain. I have seen. I mean, Varan had put out something. You will not complain
Yeah.
from an Arsenal point of view,
And
but
I retweeted his post. I think it is a very fair post given the busy schedule that we are putting now the players in. It's extremely tense over the last 2 3 seasons post COVID. I think the season is becoming more and more condensed, very difficult. And on top of it, you have now asked them to play another 10 minutes, another 15 minutes. It's not fair to them, right? Regardless of what we say, it's not. I mean, what if you want to punish the people who are wasting time? Give them yellow cards, right? Start giving, look for alternatives. This is just merely another way of getting more sponsorship money. That's all. Right.
yeah, I can already see one from Nehal. One deflected shot and double defense goes to mud. And then 90 plus 11.
I'm sitting with Bruno, just waiting for that.
Yeah, I mean, not a.
So
Might happen also, we never know.
one question I had for you, Aditya. So I'm fairly gung ho about United attack, and you are more or less confirming my, bias or my thoughts around that, right? What I'm looking for is Wolves seem like not that great a side. They have not done any transfers. Their manager has gone and done a very explosive interview, and there are now reports that he might be sacked, right? And they have lost two or three of the most experienced players. They have lost Jimenez, they have lost Neves, they have lost Moutinho. The team looks fairly young, and they're going to Old Trafford, right? Rashford or Bruno captaincy? What do you think?
Ah, Bruno loves playing against Wolves for some reason. So I always,
I
I
had
think
it on Bruno.
Bruno loves, and one of the player that used to always annoy United was Ruben Neves, and he's not there. So, uh, ah, very tough, very tough. It's up to you. I'm just going to leave it up. There are a lot of good vibes from Bruno because the Leeds United opener game, everybody remembers that.
Correct. Yeah.
That was purely, that was a different game. I will go with Rashford.
Yeah, and we have Pranit Surya who has a Bruno photo on his DP and he still says Rashford. So I'm going to take his word.
Yeah, I might be slightly inclined towards Rashford.
Yeah. I had it on Bruno all week, I think more than 10 days now. But just watching that Lens match, I felt, hey, I mean, Bruno might play well and it might still be Rashford. If I'm going differential, let me take the safer differential. Right. So just makes sense. You know
It's
Rashford
it's
is
it's
somehow
it's
going to
not
get
a
in.
it's not a bad shot. You might have situation wherein goal Rashford assist Bruno.
Yeah. Or
You'll
a
have to be
penalty
happy.
Bruno.
Yeah, I mean that is good for you. But the other thing also is not that bad. You'll at least get assist points. He'll take set
Correct.
pieces and all again. A lot of pros here and there. So I mean, it both are great picks. I might just go with Rashford because he's going to play as a talisman striker. So that's the only reason. Otherwise, it would be slightly different.
Correct. Correct. And Pranit says the same thing. Rashford is a striker, Bruno is a creator. Just go with the
Great,
striker, right?
great minds
It's a
think
close.
alike.
Cool.
Okay, I
So
think yes, I'll let you do it.
with this we are, yeah, please go ahead.
No, no, you can do it off.
With this, we have moved on to the end of the stream, and I think we have covered more or less everything that we can cover about United. Yes, we do have a Bruno picture here, but everyone here is saying Rashford is the guy. So, in case you have not seen the video, please go through it. Right, I think you get a good insight on all the attackers of United and where exactly the money lies and how risky is that Garnacho punt, or what's the possible reward of that Garnacho risk, And in case you like this video, please give us a drop us a like, give us a subscribe, share it around with your friends, right? We're just getting started. We have a new team this season, big team. You see Nehal in the chat. Nehal did a very good episode on Liverpool, and we are going to do a lot more episodes in the weeks to come. So please give us a follow, share the videos around with your friends, and all the best for Game Week 1. We are fairly close now.
You're fairly close indeed.